Alright, well, hey, hello, how are you? Here we go again. Mental Voyager here with another bounty for you from Pillars of Eternity. This one is Glasdial, or Glasdial. I don't know how you really say it, but he's a troll. You're going to find him in Stormwall Gorge, at the bottom of the ruins, the Adra ruins that open up after Act 2, so that you can progress on further down across the stream.
Will do.
Now, I've tried this fight several different ways so that I could see what the best way was to get through. Now, the problem that I have with this fight is that there's no line of sight for you on these enemies into the pit to be able to cast any type of preemptive strike spells. And I quickly figured that out. It won't let you, cast down into that pit. I don't know why, but it won't. I'm guessing for overall fairness of the fight, I don't know, but it makes it extremely difficult, especially considering the fact that there are two swamp spores right there that can and do and will spit stuff at your party that confuses them and causes them obviously to turn red and do all sorts of crazy stuff, whether it be blindly attack party members. Confusion just does all kinds of bad things to your people because you can't control them anymore. And they can readily do it repeatedly to your party members, which makes this fight very difficult. Without them, this fight probably would not have been difficult at all. Aside from the troll himself, nobody's really that powerful. It's those spores that make this fight a pain in the rear. So at the moment, I'm trying to figure out the best way to initiate this fight. And finally I figured out the best way to initiate this fight is to just do so. As you can see, they aggro on my party as soon as it reaches a little distance away from the pit, and I still have no line of sight on these enemies, but yet they had line of sight on me. So I'm gonna get stuck here as the rest of the party, the enemy party, charges up the stairs and comes out of the pit towards my party. I'm stuck here with the swamp spores firing away, some druids that are down there firing away, and it's a bit of a pain. Without being right on the edge of this pit, you cannot put anything down there. As you can see, my barbarian's already been hit by the spores. He's changed to red, and he starts attacking my priest, I think. No, my cipher. He's attacking my cipher. The rest of the trolls party. Now, the one good thing about this fight is that there's not enough room on the edge of this pit for all of those enemies to make it to the front, so they get kind of bunched up. Unfortunately, with the spores constantly charming my party, it makes it very difficult to mount any sort of constructive offensive, which also makes this fight draw out to much longer than it should. But nonetheless, we end up doing okay. So the first things, excuse me. The first things I would say is to, if you have anything that can help out with any type of charm or domination or confusion, your priest does carry buff spells that help you reduce the duration of those spells and increase your party members' resistance to those type of spells. I do consistently cast those spells, but with the rate at which these spores can fire those things off, it is a pain, to say the least. And especially considering that the bounty himself, the big troll, is out in front. All of his minions are behind him. Some of them are spellcasters with ranged. They are firing into the party. So like I said, the one thing that does save you here is the fact that they cannot get by each other, so they're all stacked up behind each other, but you're still getting pummeled. You've got the big guy in the front, which means that he's obviously going to take the longest to defeat. So your melees can't get some of those other spellcasters and whatnot off of your back, or at least occupy them so they're not sitting there beating the crap out of you. Now I do get the Storm off with the Druid. Once again, Storm is your savior. Love the Storm. If you haven't seen any of my other videos on any of these fights, the Druid, you'll learn that I just love the Druid. I love the Druid spells, period. The Storms are lifesavers in battles. Here it saves me quite a bit. It does, unfortunately, it does make him a target for the spores. They do keep hitting him with the confusions, causing him to change to red and go around, start beating up my people. But I said my priest is trying to keep them from doing that. We put a protection spell here. That's nice. Later on, here I'm looking for the right there is the confused spell buff and removal, and that'll be fired off next. Who's in the front? I believe my fighter is in the front, which is actually a good thing because he is very tanky, so he is taking most of the beating from the big troll. We're trying to concentrate. As you can see, I've got quite a few of the minions behind him damaged, so I am getting stuff off behind him, spell-wise, ranged-wise. And I'm just basically trying to keep control of the status effects coming from those spores. Trying to damage them when I can. Like I said, you have to bring somebody to the very edge of that pit and you will be able to target down into the pit. The problem with that is, of course, as I said, when you do that, it makes it priority target for those spores to fire their confusions. So it's a back and forth, a back and forth, a back and forth, where I do damage, I get charmed, I do damage, I do damage, I get charmed. I debuff the charm, remove the charm, try and keep the charm from going. Here they've got two of my characters charmed, my barbarian and my druid. Things aren't looking good. It's a messy fight. It's a hard fight. I couldn't tell you. You want to prepare best for it. The best thing I can tell you is to know that you're going to have a charming problem. There are some things that you can do equipment-wise that will help with charms and confusions and dominations and things like that. But they are few and far between. I haven't found very many, but there are some. The troll is not damaged that much at this point. I'm trying to see his life bar. There he is. Yeah, he's not hurt very much at all. And that's making this, like I said, it's making this fight quite difficult because I cannot get to the back. Like I said, we've got some damage in the back. We are getting some stuff back there, but I would much rather have the troll gone in the front and getting some of my melee up into those weaker characters behind him, because they are pummeling me from back there with ranged. The druids are doing, they're doing druid spells, throwing stuff at me all the time. It's a pain in the butt fight, man. You gotta fight it out. You gotta fight it out to the end. You gotta go with it as it comes. The biggest problem in this fight is those spores. If you could somehow, if you had a character that was high in sneak, which I don't, you might be able to make it up to somewhere around those stairs on the pit, to maybe get a trap off. I'm not sure. I haven't played a high stealth playthrough. Somebody might be able to check that out and let us know in the comments. I'm not positive. But I don't have anybody in this party that's high enough stealth to have made it past. I tried. Before I made the actual footage video, I tried several different ways of getting around, getting the upper hand on those spores. Now here you can see I do have most of the backside behind the troll cleared out. So we are doing work, and what I've done is I've moved my party over as far to that wall as I can, and I'm trying to keep them there. As you can see, sometimes the pathing AI is a little weird, and some of your people will kind of just walk around all silly like. So you want to try and keep them away from the spores as much as possible. And by hugging that wall, it does make them not fire as much, it appeared to me. Now if you're standing right there on the side of the wall, they fire. And every time one of your little characters decides he's gonna take that crazy pathing, like I said, the AI sometimes it just walks around all aimlessly. You haven't told it to move anywhere, it's just, I think basically it's trying to get where you told everybody to go, but it's not taking the right way, and then there's something in its way, so it just walks back and forth, back and forth. So they'll keep walking out, and as soon as they get close to that wall, the spores will aggro. So I'm trying to keep them over to that wall as much as possible to keep those spores from firing off. And concentrating on the troll now, since we do have the rest of the NPCs behind him gone. He's injured a little bit now. He's got 2 bars left. I think that, what do they call that? I don't know if they call that badly injured or near death. I don't remember. Badly injured. There we go. So he is close to going down. Now he's near death. We are able to concentrate everybody in the party on it. Still trying to keep everybody up against that wall, and they're just not cooperating. And the spores do get off another charm on my druid. Luckily, we do have everybody. We have lost the cipher. We lost the cipher a long time ago. We lost the cipher to, I believe, a friendly fight between my party members when they were charmed. One of them was charmed. I don't remember if it was her or if it was one of the other party members that attacked her.
I don't feel so good.
But either way, she's been dead for a while. So we're just working on getting this troll taken down. As soon as he goes down, we'll have to rush down into the pits to remove the 3 spores. Now, you could technically, you could, if the game would allow you, you could loot the bounty once he goes down and just forget about the spores. But for some reason, they don't let you loot during fights. If you're in combat, you can't loot. And maybe this is why. Because it would be a lot nicer if you could just finish this troll off, grab his head, and dip. But you can't. So here now I've got my barbarian and my druid once again are confused and beating the crap out of the rest of my party. But we do get the troll down here. Glasdial goes down, Glasdial, and we have to try and rush down into the pits while they're still spitting out their charms on everybody. Now you can see these spores have been damaged already. They've been damaged from some of the spells I've been able to throw out from up there. And they're not very powerful. It doesn't take very much to take them out. Especially when you're rushing them with your whole party. It's just the fact that where they were located and where you were stuck, they were just sitting there beating on you with those confusions, and that's what makes this fight a very big challenge. Not necessarily the actual composition or numbers of the people. It's the location of where these things were and how difficult it was to keep the fight going with those constant charms coming from the side that you couldn't prevent. As I said, your priest does carry spells that will allow you to buff your party, resistance to those type of to their stat effects, and reduce the length of time if it does trigger. and that is your best bet for this fight. But that's it there. We'll get a look. We'll get a look at the loot here real quick as soon as I decide to pick it up. And you don't get anything spectacular from this guy, which I was surprised. You do get a good chunk of experience for the bounty, and then you get even more experience for turning it in, of course. But you don't get anything really spectacular, no craziness. Just some more crafting materials. Some fine grade weapons and things like that from the NPCs, but as far as from the actual bounty himself, no. And that'll do it. Hello everybody, this is Mental Warrior. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video. If you liked it, like. If you want to see more, subscribe. If I can do anything better, let me know. As usual, thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.